See the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark. No fear, getting ready for the ride. Yeah, stepping into the light. No limit, aim high. No limit, the price is mine.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level up. Ay, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. All we know is ball to empty out the mouths. The chosen one they call, I take my fan with me. Know about it if you tell, know you're breaking calls. Want your credibility and all fall like dominoes. Can you really take a stance? All I wanna know. Need me real ones when it's time to go. Stepping in, elevator. This is to all the haters. That's all we know when we level up. Yeah, that's all we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up. I found out I'm not alone. 'Cause I'm just like you. There's no failing when we fight. We're not afraid to. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
I go ready for it. I go ready for it.
ESL Mobile Open is brought to you by DHL and Pay Safeguard.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Mobile Open Finals for Asphalt 9 Legends. I am Lee Demon Smith, and joining me is Luke Crane, the man with a community of racers right behind him. It is AKA Actroll Vision. How you doing, buddy?
Doing really well, thank you, matey. We've been in this game for a long time now, and we've watched mobile games grow just hugely, but now they can earn money from it as well. So I'm excited to see the competition today, and well, we're going to be in for an absolute cracker for sure.
Yeah, Asphalt is definitely a game that's got a lot of pedigree from the days of World Cyber Games many moons ago when I was covering it back in, geez, I think that was 2010. It's been a long time, but we are Asphalt 9 Legends, and we have some real legends ahead of us as well. Let's have a look at the brackets for today's racers. Of course, we're going to be looking towards both Android and iOS today. So starting out on the Android, it is going to be a lot of names that you've been seeing throughout. Certainly the recap shows RPM Suktee up against Jagermeister, and of course RPM Onio versus for my friend. That are the two semi-finals. As you can see, we're going to go straight to a grand final and a third place playoff. Over on the iOS, let's have a look at what brackets we've got there. As we would expect, we will see a lot of names you kind of recognize. It is going to be Nilo up against RPM FRA and Alex versus Adidas, as far as I can see. So the RPM boys got a good showing both on Android and iOS, Luke.
It's basically RPM versus the world at this point. Again, I wasn't too sure what to expect, but yeah, RPM seem like they are the team to beat. And well, there's an opportunity for everyone else ultimately. You know, when you've got a target on your back, everyone's chasing you. So yeah, huge opportunity for everybody else as well.
So we're going to have best of threes in the semi-finals and the third place races today, and the finals will be a best of 5. So without further ado, Luke, I guess we get into our first race, right? Let's get things on, which will be the first race, I believe, will be RPM Suktee versus Jagermeister. Well, here we go. Let's get it straight on your screen.
Yeah, we're here at New York then. It's a very technical circuit, so getting into the lead is absolutely vital here. And then you can take less chances. As you can see already then, we have got Jagermeister taking the lead, Suktee just in behind as they go on the high side here at New York.
Looking like he's got a good start. You can see Suktee certainly gaining ground already. Trying to hit that boost. It's all about who can make the least mistakes, and obviously a bit of racecraft to see whether you can get past your driver. And Suktee definitely took a much keener line than Jagermeister. And look at the boost he has stored up as well. Chosen to go on the right-hand side a little earlier. Just go for a quick spin there to try and get that boost built up, but Jagermeister's holding the lead.
Absolutely, yes. So it looked like Suktee was going to get really close there to Jagermeister, but then just made a mistake at the vital time. So yeah, taking a very good line through that chicane early in the lap. And now it's all about chasing down Jagermeister. Jagermeister, again, doing all of the hard work here early, just making sure he's got that lead, not, you know, having to take too many chances, not having to get too close to the walls here, losing momentum, just making sure that he stays in the lead. But Suktee, again, it's easier to chase really Demon at this point, isn't it? You know, it's always wanting to be in the lead. That is the objective of winning races. But when you're behind, you can also see the mistakes happening, and you can take the better line looking towards the end of the race.
Yeah, you've also got to be careful you don't get sucked into that sort of following the driver in front sort of mentality, which can often happen as well. And remember, these guys have been posting basically time trials throughout, so it's not so often they get a full-on head-to-head race like they have right now. They would have certainly been up against each other for a full month in terms of time trials and leaderboards and seeing each other, but going up against your opponent right now, it's certainly going to be very different. And obviously with the time trials, you get multiple chances to post your time there. You just get one chance when it's a semi-final. At the moment, it is Jagermeister that is benefiting from this, but Suktee is gaining.
Yeah, Suktee definitely having a better second lap here, the midway through the technical part of this lap. Suktee lost a lot of time previously, but this time he is absolutely smashing it very close here, and actually is looking to potentially take the lead here. They are side by side. Then as we come through this sweeping long left-hander, looks like there might have been a little bit of contact there. Jagermeister then does indeed hold on to the lead here. Big mistake by Suktee, so much momentum lost. And there you have it, Jagermeister is going to take the win.
I think a bit of a spearhead, I think, was coming out from Suktee there to try and wipe out his opponent on the final corner. But it is Jagermeister with the first race win. That's obviously starting out. That was New York City. We're going to be moving over to Osaka now for the second round. It is a best of 3, as we pointed out, so we'll see who can take this one. Great start, though, for Jagermeister.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal start for Jagermeister, and again, now Suktee has to win. It's as simple as that. We're into this second race here then, and well, like we said, Suktee has to win this, whereas Jagermeister, you know, he could take more chances here and, you know, potentially go for the 2-0, but he knows he's got that third chance if he does indeed lose here, and Suktee at the start here is doing exactly what he needs to do, and he has taken the lead.
Very tight, twisty start at Osaka here, but as you say, Suktee led it well. Jagermeister almost at the start just sort of went across to get his elbows out and try and keep his opponent in check, but it didn't work out. Oh no, that was a wipeout for Jagermeister. That has almost certainly put the nail in the coffin. I can't see any way back, despite the fact we have 2 laps in this one. That is a disaster for him.
Yeah, he took a chance there. He took a chance by trying to gain a little bit more boost than Suktee, and ultimately paid the ultimate price. Suktee now has just got to keep it on the straight and narrow, just keep it between the mayo and the mustard, as they say in racing, and hopefully he can get this victory here and take it into the final race.
Well, Suktee is certainly doing a fantastic job. Let's not rule out the fact that he could wipe out as well. While we do talk about these drivers posting fantastic times, obviously we only get to see the very best of those times, and you don't get to see all the meat and potatoes in between until they actually where all the mistakes are made. So cheeky little shortcut from Suktee there, you may notice, off the barrier and then through. It sort of works out well for him as he starts his second lap, and you can see Jagermeister now into his second lap as well.
You made a really good point there, Lee, to be fair, in terms of these drivers have been doing a lot of time trials. So the actual, you know, side-by-side combat with another driver, you know, repetitions of multiplayer online gaming, that's going to come into fruition now if you've been practicing that. But also the nerves of being in this position. You know, Suktee went 1-0 down, you know, the races are so fast here. Within a blink of an eye, you're 1-0 down, you're going to be nervous. So to get, you know, a point on the board as early as possible, this is fantastic, not only for Jagermeister, of course, winning race 1, but especially now for Suktee, that looks like he is going to take this to a third race.
Jagermeister's certainly caught up. The catch-up working out well for him. You can see very much the Suktee in his sights, but as you say, I think we're just simply running out of time here. Not too much time left on the track, and it should be Suktee that will take victory here in the second race, which will, of course, take it to that third and final race as he goes over the line in style, boosting all the way. So a mistake from Jagermeister absolutely costing him in the start of Osaka. It is a tight, twisty track, there's no doubt about it, so it was definitely a tricky start for him. It does mean we're going to be moving on to Rome, the Eternal City, next in this matchup.
Yeah, 2 technical circuits to start things off. It's 1 apiece, which gives us a nice little mini grand final, I guess, here in semi-final number 1. But this is a momentum-based circuit here, very, very narrow, but it's not as technical as what we've seen before here. So getting an early lead is absolutely vital. So we are on board with both drivers then, and well, who's going to get the first advancement here and get into the lead of the race? They're both taking different, different routes here by the looks of things. And Jagermeister, I feel, is just about in the lead here. No, it's not. Well, they're actually neck and neck then, so it is Suktee that is in the lead there. Again, both taking completely different lines, but ultimately getting the same result. But Suktee taking so many chances here. He's gaining so much boost. This is fantastic from Suktee.
Just seems to be about that boost, because Jagermeister had nothing. You could see Suktee was boosting away, and that's what just maybe stuck him in the lead ever so slightly, despite the fact Jagermeister took the shorter route. It's kind of worked out for Suktee at the moment. You can see really running on the rails, as it were. Got to make sure they don't make any mistakes, don't wipe out, just like we saw Jagermeister in the previous race. But at the moment, Jagermeister is simply eating the exhaust fumes. And oh, Jagermeister's trying desperately. You can see he throws a spin in where it really shouldn't happen. And it looks like desperation times at the moment for Jagermeister.
Yeah, he's tried to indeed get out of a sticky situation there with a spin to try and not only gain some time, but gain some boost as well. But I think it might all be in vain at this stage here. Suktee is just, wow, he's looked imperious here. He went 1-0 down in this series, but ultimately it's looking likely he's going to take a 2-1 lead. But these drivers, they look so good, and you know, this could be worthy of a final here. And well, if this is the standard we're expecting for the rest of this competition, Demon, this is going to be a fantastic open for sure.
Absolutely, Suktee putting on a performance now. As you say, the pressure certainly can sometimes compound you, but it seems to have created a diamond in Suktee as he absolutely steps it up here, and he's running away with this race. Jagermeister doing just about everything he can to catch up, but all you can see is the little tailpipes of Suktee when he gets on a long straight. There's not a lot he can do about this other than try his best and hope that Suktee makes a mistake, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it's a momentum-based circuit, and you are just seeing Suktee at his
he went for the
very
shortcut.
best here. Well, you can see there.
He got it. He made the shortcut work. That is such a risky move. I've seen it work so many times, and I've seen it fail so many times. So he went for the shortcut on the final lap. You know, just desperation times paid off for him, but still didn't make enough ground up.
Yeah, Jagermeister, again, was trying to throw everything and the kitchen sink at it, but unfortunately it wasn't quite enough there. And yeah, Suktee, didn't he look good there? Wow.
Fantastic stuff. Let's check out the brackets. We can move on to the second semi-final. So this is obviously on Android as well. And it does show, obviously, the next semi-final we're going to be having will be Onio up against Furfur, my friend. And as you can see, Suktee now in the grand finals. That will be a best of 5 that will happen later on, and Jagermeister in that third place playoff. So let's see what Onio and Furfur can do in this next race. Now, tracks will change, Luke. We're going to be switching over to Caribbean Island Beach Landing for the first race of this semi-final. Will we get an all RPM finals? Well, let's find out. Can Onio match what Suktee just did? Now, this time, though, up against Furfur, my friend, another driver we've seen throughout in the playoff weekends, and obviously checked out all the time trials. Certainly a driver that can post the times, but coming into this one as the 4th seed. So technically, Onio more favoured. This is a replay of the previous race.
Yeah, here's some replays here, and we saw that Jagermeister just came out of the gates absolutely flying here, and it looked like he was going to be flying towards the final, but Suktee, after race number 1, found some of that pace, found some of that form, took more chances, then he was just able to string performances together. And again, Lee, these races are so quick and so fast and so furious that ultimately momentum is a huge factor.
Absolutely. And the fact that he came back is always a test of the mental strength of a driver. When you go that 1-0 down, it's very easy to just spiral out of control and make errors. I think perhaps the mistake may have still been playing in the minds of Jagermeister that he made on that second track in Osaka. May have still been in his mind at the start of the Rome race, and it just didn't really look like he was ever going to catch up there.
Suktee, for me, didn't make a mistake in all 3 races.
Yeah.
Like, in that Jagermeister won race number 1 because he was outstanding. But there was always a mistake there for Jagermeister. Seemed like he was always on the limit. And Suktee, again, he lost race number 1, but it wasn't because of him making little mistakes. He just wasn't fast enough. But ultimately, making the mistakes across 3 races gets you through.
So here we go, second semi-final on the Android, Onio versus Furfur, and it's Furfur that takes the lead at the start here on the Caribbean Island.
Yeah, Furfur then went on the high road there, and he's got a really nice healthy lead here. Onio then just sitting in behind, taking more of a road version of this circuit, whereas Furfur, my friends, is taking more of the Petter Solberg version of this circuit. He's on the grass, he's in the dirt, he's on the sand now, he's all over the place.
Let's see if he can ride it as well, that's for sure. Beautiful little flip there, Furfur. Onio actually choosing to skip out on the ramp. Does chose to go this time around. We'll just ride it out there, and it's all about being so precise here, carrying the right speed in the right spots so you don't hit any of those corners. Sometimes you've got to play off the corners as well. Sometimes you've got to make sure they all work, but at the moment Furfur is making no mistakes.
Yeah, from my research, this is the easiest venue, the Caribbean circuits. They're all nice, wide and open. So if you can get into the lead really, really early here, it means then you can just focus on hitting those apexes and taking the fastest route here. But if you're in behind, you've got to take chances. We've seen that already from our first semi-final, where if you're behind, you start taking more chances, you lose more time, you lose more momentum. And obviously it just gives someone like Furfur, my friends, the opportunity to just drive away and get into that rhythm. And as we, again, saw, semi-final 1, rhythm, momentum is absolutely huge.
And once again, Furfur takes the high road and Onio takes the low road, but it seems that the high one's working out best for Furfur, and my friend is going to get there first, it seems, as he's boosting up beautifully and once again carrying the speed through the tunnel. Onio is still very much within touching distance, but Furfur is in a great position and really making no mistakes. He's effectively on a time trial right now. He's at the lead, he's in the front, he's just posting his own time. Forget about the guy behind you and make your own race.
Yeah, you can see the chances being taken here by Onio, trying to get a much more boost there with a couple more spins added into his arsenal right now, but it's not quite enough here. It's Furfur, my friends, again, has done the hard work early in this race, and now he's all about just trying to coast to that finish line, get that 1-0 lead, and really pile the pressure on the RPM driver of Onio. Onio, though, has indeed, over the last sort of lap and a half, started to catch up, and has been catching up the entirety here. But Furfur, my friends, at the death of this race, as we near the final and we come across the line, it is going to be a victory for him. And well, again, 2 outstanding drives, but Furfur, my friends, is going to come out on top.
Just ran out of track, not enough time. Certainly seems to start making ground there, but a great start for Furfur coming into this one as the number 2 seed ahead of Onio, who's the number 3 seed. So these guys obviously racing hard throughout the month to be here in the finals, the open finals. Cairo up next, the Ancient Wonders, so we'll see whether this track can pay dividends. Obviously it's down to Onio now. He has to win this race to stay in the competition for the grand finals.
Yeah, this is very similar. It's similar in the respect that we've got 2 of the same kind of tracks to start things off in this semi-final, but they're completely different. So in semi-final number 1, it's 2 technical circuits, and you can see there Onio forcing Furfur, my friends, to take contact with the wall there, using his car there as a bit of a battering ram. Very clever from him, and ultimately it's giving him the lead.
Absolutely paid off for him. It's given him that very small lead as well, there's no doubt about it. Furfur very much still in touch in distance. You can see both hitting the boost the exact same time, working out well with the nitro, managing to keep themselves in this tight twisty circuit, blasting on through. At the moment it's looking very good for Onio. He has to take victory here. Now Onio carrying way more boost than Furfur this time around. That's going to give him an advantage now as he tries to lay it all out there. Furfur full boost flat out, but you can see Onio's still got more boost left. Does manage to get himself the boost once again. Furfur trying to keep ground as we go into lap 2, a much tighter race this time.
This is fantastic. These 2 at the top of their game. Again, it's a nice open circuit, but ultimately they've got the buildings to contend with as well. So their visibility lines is, well, it's scuppered. You know, you're not going to be able to see too many corners ahead here. So it's all about the repetition these 2 drivers have been putting in. But Onio is just extending that lead here. You can see Furfur, my friends, trying to take a few more chances, trying to gain a little bit more momentum, but it's not quite going to work out. Although Onio's just missed the ramp there, and Furfur, my friends, is closing up this lead. And as we come up towards the end of lap number 2, this could be tight.
Definitely tight. There was a mistake for Furfur. He slammed into the barrier at the start of lap 2, so it's certainly not helped him out there. That small mistake may well cost him at the moment, because as you can see, he is gaining ground, but Onio not having any of it. Manages to hit his boost in the correct spot once again, and it does seem that Onio will be able to take this to a 3rd race as he approaches the line. Over he goes. It will be tied up in the series 1 apiece, which means Midwest will be the decider.
Yeah, it seems like having RPM in the tag gives you an extra 10 brake horsepower at this stage. Fantastic to see both these drivers again at the top level taking it to a decider, which is exactly what we want to see.
Well, the question is, will we see an all RPM final? Onio challenging, just like Suktee. Suktee lost out in the first race to Jagermeister, while Onio loses out to Furfur, my friends. Will he make the comeback as we move over to the Midwest?
Here we go then, Midwest. This is time for a bit more of a technical circuit this time out, and this is going to be a completely different challenge for both drivers. It's 1-1 in the final race of semi-final number 2, and I tell you what, Onio trying to make a little move up the inside there of Furfur, my friends, but Furfur, my friends, uses the car to his advantage and does defend that nicely. Both taking exactly the same route there, but Onio had saved a lot more boost, and he is going to make a move for the lead here. Tries to force then Furfur into the wall, and it's absolutely neck and neck here. We've had 2 changes of the lead, and this is fantastic stuff, Lee.
Almost slammed down on top of him there. Would have wiped out Onio, but he manages to keep the lead for now. This is a much tighter race as you see the tornadoes twirling away in the Midwest. And at the moment, Onio, I don't know which one's going to come out on top in this. They're side by side this time. Onio just cuts across, and this is so close. Furfur keeping on the back end of him at the moment, just keeping him very much in the tailpipe. And they've got to be careful that he doesn't wipe one of each other out. Onio's certainly going to be very nervous about that. Obviously, it's quite easy for Furfur to catch the back of him and maybe send him off into the barriers. And at the moment, Onio is just about holding that lead, but this is one small error away from a catastrophe for Onio.
Yeah, Furfur here has just been, taking a few more chances behind, getting a couple more spins in, although he runs very, very wide there, up through the cave once again. And this is absolutely anyone's right now, but Onio doing a hell of a job. Again, we're seeing someone who's gone one down, come back from behind, and potentially is going to take their place in the final. So Furfur, my friends, then really does now. Oh, there's a mistake. He's completely clattered into a bit of the cliffside there, and unfortunately that's just lost him all the momentum that he needed. And I think Onio may be on his way to the final.
It's looking that way. We're coming towards the end of lap 2, and Onio is not making any mistakes, it seems, as he once again slides it, power slides round, still very much visible for Furfur, using all of the boost available to him. But Onio is not making an error as he manages to career it round. It's pretty wide in this section, so very easy. Takes once again the low road. You can see Furfur throwing the spin in there, just trying to get that extra boost to gain ground, boosting with all his heart. But it does seem that it's going to be Onio that goes over the line, and he will join to an all RPM final up against Suktee.
Yeah, I say an RPM against the world. Well, they've just beaten the world at this stage of the competition. It was a longer race, the final race there, a lot longer than what we've seen in the previous, 5 races so far. And it just seems like Onio had a little bit more consistency over that time period. But again, a fantastic semi-final. You know, anyone who's in this stage of the competition is worthy of winning the whole thing.
So just have a quick reminder of the brackets. You can see it's both RPM drivers going through to the grand finals for Android. That is Suktee and Onio, which means obviously the third place playoff will be Jagermeister up against Furfur, my friends. Best of 5 for the grand finals, best of 3 for the playoffs. Let's have a little recap of what just happened there, because obviously with both Suktee and Onio losing out in that first race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those where you're put under pressure instantly after losing a race straight off the bat. You know, these drivers would have been waiting for so long to get into, this position, actually get the races underway. They would have practiced the time trials. They would have practiced their multiplayer online racing. But now it's really where you need to earn the money at this stage. So yeah, they would have been chomping at the bit. And nerves do come into it. But the fact that we've seen 2 drivers, lose round number 1, but then come back, that is in such a short format as well. That's quite remarkable.
Now, these young drivers certainly putting on some fantastic displays here. And of course, it was just there that Onio managed to get that final overtake past Furfur, and he didn't look back through the second lap. And well, Furfur, you could see he was gaining ground, just made that smallest of errors though, and that cost him the race in the end, and he'll be going through to the third place playoffs. Let's move on to the iOS. That was Android. Let's see what we've got looking for on the iOS. Of course, the bracket once again filled with RPM drivers. This time Nilo, by the way, former RPM, up against FRA, and Alex up against Adidas. We're assuming it's Adidas. It's Adidate. We're not too sure. We're going to go with Adidas.
This is going to be a good one here. It brings the age-old battle of which is better, iOS or Android at this stage. Yes. And we've just seen some incredible action from the Android side. So, yeah, I'm expecting to see it from the iOS drivers as well. But, yeah, I'm just sweating after that. And now we've got more races to come.
Yeah, it's very interesting, this one, especially with Nilo versus Alex. It's that's a final. I remember a Gamescom before that we've had. I think it was Asphalt 9 or is it Asphalt 8? I'm not too sure. But these drivers have all been around for a very long time. So let's get that semi-final on your screens. We're going to be starting out with Nilo versus FRA. We're back on New York. We're back in the city that never sleeps.
Well, this is a grudge match here because Nilo did indeed represent RPM at one stage, and now can he potentially, as an independent driver, I would imagine now, can he potentially step up here and take RPM FRA on? Nilo then currently is in second, and he, just does a bit of Tony Hawk's there with a grind on the rail at the top side over the indeed subway, and it's a great move there for the lead here as well. There's big tangling here, and I tell you what, there's no love lost between these two for sure.
Yeah, FRA putting in some tight performances. Oh, he just squeezes ahead of Nilo there through the tunnels. That worked out very nicely for him. Now they're going to head over to the right-hand side of the tunnels in just a moment. There you go, gets the little flip through Grand Central and back onto the start of lap number 2. as they come once again through Central Park. So it was a little overtake there from Nilo mid-air. Worked out very well from FRA. FRA just trying to grind the outside there and try and work it as best he can.
Yeah, absolutely superb stuff there. Again, FRA causing a little bit of contact there with Nilo in lap number 1, which ultimately gave him the lead, but Nilo's just kept it nice and strong, kept it on the straight and narrow, being consistent, and now he's got a nice healthy lead here then as we head towards, well, we're in the middle of lap number 2 as we take the high side here, and then we're going to grab a little bit of boost. It's all about momentum at this stage here. Just try and hang on. He didn't grind like he did on the previous lap there. I think that was unintentional. We did get the lead though, did Nilo, with that grind earlier on in the race. It was actually incredible to see.
I think a mistake from FRA there. I don't believe he wanted to come up onto the high side of the track there. It looked like he almost certainly made a mistake the way he went through it, but we'll see if it works out for him. He's going to come out much further behind, and you can see just how far the distance now is to Nilo. Nilo's absolutely got this one in the bag.
Yeah, for sure. And you saw that FRA was intentional.
Oh, he's wiped out. FRA with a wipeout. That's done. I mean, that's it. He was just trying to create any sort of situation to gain ground, and well, you just risk taking at that point, and that's Nilo. Well, he's gone. He's in well in the distance.
It's regroup, isn't it? You know, we've already seen 2 semi-finals where, you know, losing the first race doesn't really matter. Ultimately, you know, you just regroup, regain, and get yourself back involved here. It is going to be a race win for Nilo then, and well, not racing under the RPM banner anymore, but still performing at the very highest level. And for me, it looked like FRA was intentionally trying to cause contact at the start there, because maybe he knows the pace of what Nilo has. If Nilo gets away, it becomes a very, very difficult race in the end, and we've just seen that happen.
The joint winner, Nilo, in December back in 2020, certainly in a fantastic performance from him on the iOS. So continuing on that trend, he is one race up in the series. Moving on to Himalayas now in the mountain poles.
Well, could we see our first driver take a 2-0 win and go into the final very, very easily indeed? And again, we're both pronouncing Nilo and Nilo wrong. So I'm going to go with you, Lee, and say Nilo. On this, I don't want to upset anybody. So if we're wrong, we're both wrong. That's what I'm taking here. But as it stands then, FRA was in the lead here. Well, he just about is in the lead. So he went out far left then to try and get some extra boost. And ultimately, it's worked out really nicely.
Yeah, cheeky little start. So FRA, once again, under the pressure with Nilo up behind him, has chose a different route, though, through the factory. So we'll see whether it pays off for him. A little boost comes out from FRA as they do come out, and you can see it is just slightly ahead for FRA once again. But Nilo nibbling at his bumper.
Yeah, FRA there taking a real compromised section of the circuit there, indeed taking chances to try and gain the lead, whereas Nilo was just chilling at the bottom side of the track and still just in behind it. So very, very close between the two, and you can see here the repetition. There's a big contact there, and Nilo does get it's a little bit of a takeout there, and will take the lead of this race, but there's a mistake there from Nilo, and FRA is still right behind him.
Both going for that double spin, working out well. It's so beautiful to see them going side by side, sliding through, but a barrier contact for FRA there just cost them a little bit of time, and you can see what it's counted. Nilo pulling ahead in this one, already 1-0 up in the series. It's FRA that needs to get himself this to take it to race number 3. But it does look like he stole the march at the moment. FRA once again choosing that left-hand route to see whether it works out. Boosting comes right up behind Nilo, but not able to connect on his back, which means Nilo will hold the lead.
Yeah, Nilo using his car to his advantage there. Again, it's quite easy to pass left or right, but you can't pass through a car. And Nilo knew that as we come up towards the final few corners of this race here. And I think we might be about to see our first driver go through with no losses on their record at this stage of the competition. But again, there's still the very technical section here where we've got to try and string ramps together. And there's the mistake then from our FRA. He had to take a chance. It didn't quite work out. And I tell you what, that is going to be a huge monkey off the back there for Nilo. Of course, you said he used to represent RPM, and you know it's a lot easier when you're representing the team. You've got drivers to indeed work with. You've got get advice from. You can all help each other, and then it's always like when you get to your first event, you've got to try and then prove that your decision was right. And well, what a great start for him.
Absolutely. Fantastic stuff. Nilo will progress to the grand finals. Who will face him? Whether it be Alex or Adidas, we'll find out in a moment. RPM FRA is down to the third place playoff. This on the iOS. Let's have a little recap on exactly how that worked out. A 2-0, the first time we've seen it so far in the semi-finals for Nilo.
Yeah, Nilo looked really, really good here. Again, it was very, very close at the start of both races. And actually through the entirety, we haven't really seen, apart from the mistake we saw from FRA at the end of race number 2, they were so close the whole time. So again, another semi-final that's worthy of a final, I should say. But yeah, just fantastic stuff from both drivers, but Nilo is going to be super chuffed. But it's not over for him in terms of the Nilo versus RPM battle, because potentially we could see another Nilo versus his old team in the final.
Yeah, Alex, the veteran, up next against Adidas. That will be starting out on the Caribbean island beach landing as my doorbell goes. That's what we get for working from home sometimes. You just get deliveries while you're on a show. Caribbean island will be the beach landing for them. As we talked about before, it is a big, wide circuit. So certainly one that we're going to be expecting all down to racecraft really at the start. I feel the start here could be capital.
Yeah, 100%. You know, get an early lead in this circuit here, and then again, you don't have to take so many chances in terms of hitting, you know, perfect apexes there. If Alex does indeed lose lead, but with the extra spin in the air there, we'll gain a little bit more boost and we'll again get ahead of Adidas. Look at this side-by-side action then, as they do indeed come onto the beach here. A little bit of contact between the two, and that means that RPM Alex will take the lead.
Holding a great lead at the moment. The red car and the blue car had a race. All Red wanted to do was fill his face. But at the moment, it's going to be sneaky stuff from Adidas, who just steals the lead away from him. And Alex just has to sit and watch and hopefully see whether Adidas is going to make a mistake here, because it was Alex that really made a howl. You can see the spin from Adidas. Oh, he's caught Alex. He wiped him out with the spin. That is what it's all about in Asphalt 9 multiplayer, and Adidas benefits massively from that one. Alex back on his heels, but that is going to cost him.
Very impressive stuff there from Adidas, but I don't think it's intentional. I think he actually lost the car, so he wasn't fully in control there. He's made a mistake, but ultimately he's gained hugely from it. But Alex, his power of recovery here is sensational, though there's a little bit of contact there on the exterior wall or the cliffside as they come in towards lap number 2. He's taking the high line here once again and actually rolls reverse, so he took the low line on lap number 1, and indeed Adidas took the high road. So they've swapped around, and well, is there going to be a swap result as we come up towards the end of lap number 2?
Gaining ground, hits the spin, looking good for Adidas at the moment, holding a better boost as well over Alex. Alex trying to do what he can, boosting as much as he can, just trying to hold it down. If anything, you can see that boost bar just non-stop being burnt down by Alex, but Adidas is keeping him in check all the way. Oh, Adidas so close to losing control there, does manage to catch it at the end, and now Alex is in as much as he can do to try and catch him, the veteran of Asphalt. He's losing out here in his first race against Adidas.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not going to be too pleased with you calling in the veteran as Asphalt. I guess we could call you the veteran of casting at this stage, to be completely honest. But yeah, this has been incredible stuff from Adidas. Again, the contact between the two drivers, something we didn't see on the Android side of things. They're very much cleaner races, but this is the whole point of Asphalt. You've got to try these takeouts, but as they come across the line, it is going to be another disappointment for RPM. It's going to be Adidas that will take the victory.
Yeah, and it was all about that wipeout, you know, getting that spin, catching him, connecting in the air, and taking Alex out, and that worked out so well for him. The second track will be once again Cairo, the Ancient Wonders, and this time it's pressure on RPM once again. You know what? They've not won a single first race so far in this entire event.
And there we go, and that is why you paid the big bucks, Lee. You've got the stats to back up the commentary. We'd love to see it. As again, Alex is, well, he's in the lead here, so he's got a better start than he did last time out. But Adidas now, well, he gets a nice grind on top of the ball. There's contact between the two here again, and they are going to be side by side as they come over the ramp here. And there's absolutely nothing to choose between these two drivers. But as it stands, it is RPM Alex that does have the lead.
At the moment, I say that, Adidas comes on through and pips him in the air. And now side by side they go as Alex just falls out behind there as Adidas clearing all the clutter, but it is a very twisty circuit. Alex goes for the 360, risky 360. Oh no, he catches his rear end and he's going backwards down the tunnel. That has absolutely cost him this race, surely. He has got so much time to now make up, Luke.
Yeah, we have seen races where, you know, it's bumper to bumper, but if you're in the lead, it's so difficult to get past, you know, at this stage of the race. And, well, it looks like Adidas has just put RPM Alex in the blender. The mental blender here. He's just trying too much, trying to take too many chances, and ultimately lost all of that momentum. And now, as we saw in the couple of semi-finals previously on Android, it's all about just keeping it consistent, keeping it on the straight and narrow, and Adidas would have booked his place into the final.
I just wonder if it was a mistake. He went for one spin, but he went for two spins. I feel that it maybe he just double tapped. I don't know, but either way, it's absolutely cost him. And he catches that rear end during the tunnel. I mean, there's no way you're going to get away with that. And as you talked about, we've seen some of these drivers really throwing out the Hail Marys once again. We see Alex going into the tunnel. He's got to hope that Adidas makes a mistake, but he's going to know it is well clear by now. And it's looking like there's no errors from Adidas as he rides once again the final spin into the finish line. And it will be both RPM drivers knocked out here on the iOS. Fantastic driving for Adidas there. Taking a 2-0. Both iOS semi-finals 2-0. Did not expect that.
No, absolutely not. Could not agree with you more there. But you speaking about the veteran and Alex, a lot of drivers like Adidas would have been looking up to him, would have been trying to chase him down over the last few years to try and be in this position. So it's not always easy to be the big dog, because sometimes you get chased down and you get taken out.
Well, let's have a quick look at the bracket to see exactly how that's all played out. Let's have a look at the replay first, actually, just to see, because he was a quick 2-0. And Adidas, honestly, he was side by side with Alex for a large portion of these races, certainly at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen before where there's been like intentional takeouts, but he's just leaned on the car. You know, he's leaned on his opponent to just make apexes a little bit better here. It's like almost clean dirty driving, if that makes any sense. Ultimately, that's the aim of the game in these races, so yeah, you can't knock him for it. But as we saw there, look at them colliding together. But Alex did indeed not come out on top ultimately, with Adidas just prevailing. It's just a fantastic performance from Adidas, to be fair.
And if you know racing, you know what a Murrayism is, because I certainly just made one saying go both side by side at the start. It's like, no kidding. Let's have a look at the brackets just for final confirmation there of obviously how it all played out. It does mean that both RPM drivers will, of course, be knocked down to that third place bracket. Impressive stuff. It does mean that Nilo and Adidas, and Nilo once again, by the way, in the finals, just as he was in the December finals as well for 2020. So continuing on that fantastic series for him. He's up against Adidas as well on the iOS. So, that's the semi-finals done, Luke. We've blown through those. Some impressive driving, no doubt about it. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll get the third place matches out of the way, and then we'll be on to the grand finals. See you in a moment.
ESL Mobile Open is brought to you by DHL and Pay Safeguard.
Welcome back to the ESL Mobile Open Finals. As you can see, 5 games covered. Today it is all about Asphalt 9 Legends. I am Liam Smith, and joining me is Luke, aka Actual Vision. Community of racers behind him, covering him all the way across a multitude of racing games. And today, Asphalt 9 is where he's lending his expertise. And Luke, we're moving into the third place matches. It's always a tricky race, you know. Obviously, you've just lost your race. You're coming into this one. It's all about a mindset reset.
Yeah, you've been doing time trials where you've been on your own, whether you've been in your bedroom, your living room. You could be outside in the field walking your dog, doing the time trials. But now you're on a big stage. You know, there are thousands of people literally watching you. So this is a chance of redemption, ultimately.
I'd be impressed if some of these boys could set these times walking their dog. I gotta be honest. I feel like dog would be a bit neglected if that's the case. But yes, it will be obviously switching back over to the Android side of things. It is Furfur up against Jagermeister as we get things underway, and Shanghai.
And again, they've started side by side, Lee, so you'll be happy with that, that's for sure. Furfur, my friends, that does take the lead here against Jagermeister, and they both actually won their first races in the semi-finals, so they've actually won a race today. They know what they're doing. Well, to be at this stage, of course they know what they're doing. But yeah, it is Furfur, my friends, that takes a nice early lead.
Yeah, looking great for him at the moment. We'll see how this one's going to play out. There is a best of 3, just to remind you guys at home. We're starting out in Shanghai in the Nanjing Stroll. Obviously lots of layouts for these tracks. And this one, a very wide circuit, no doubt about it. And at the moment, I'm not too sure what Jagermeister's going to do to try and catch up. You can see he's boosting as much as he can to try and get back onto Furfur. And he's certainly gaining a little bit of ground, actually. Furfur seems to be just taking his time.
Yeah, he's not taking the best of lines here. You can see the Jagermeister is trying to extend the track as best he possibly can. Ultimately, contact with the wall there may have just cost him a bit of time. You can just see he's able to turn in a little bit earlier as well, and he's just basically keeping an eye on Furfur, my friends, to see where the mistakes are coming. He's got to try and use this first lap here to figure out where he's faster. You know, with my usual background of sim racing, they normally have loads of laps to figure that out. 30 or so is sort of the average, I would say. Here, they've got 1 lap to figure it out, and then they've got to try and indeed execute that on the second.
Yeah, they've got to put it all together. Hot laps, effectively, almost like qualification style, as they need to now put their foot down, and Jagermeister's doing that. You can see just used all his boost, whereas Furfur's storing it up, almost just keeping it in check. If Jagermeister were to come alongside him, he's got that boost advantage to try and get himself back in the lead.
Yeah, he's doing a sensational job here. Is Furfur, my friends, just, you know, keeping the advantage. Again, we're talking about technical circuits. We've seen a lot of those, you know, where they're ending up on high sides of the map, low sides of the map, different routes. They're taking exactly the same route here. This is more like an orthodox race circuit, if you like, here. But Jagermeister makes a mistake by running wide there, but I think that was intentional. I think he tried to wipe him out. Speed. And, well, yeah, as you can see here, he's gone on this roof across the line. He was never going to be able to make the move there. That was just for style points, which unfortunately don't mean too much. Yeah,
unlike in sim racing, where it is sometimes frowned upon to connect with your opponent, it's part of the game here at Asphalt, and that's exactly what he tried to do on that final corner. Full-on spearhead lunge from Jagermeister onto Furfur, but it didn't connect, and well, you know what? That's what you get. That's what you get. You end up on your roof. We're moving over to Himalayas, Luke.
Yeah, you're talking about sim racing. These races here is basically like being in a touring car at Macau every single race. It's ridiculous. And it's just so fast, high-paced action. I absolutely love it. And here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. Furfur, my friends, is 1-0 up. 1-0 as it stands in this race, but currently is in second position here, and it's quite a healthy lead for Jagermeister, who's got full boost here to work with as well. And off he gallivants then down Himalayas.
Yeah, now Himalaya is obviously a track that these guys will know well, because it is one of the tracks we used in the time trial throughout the qualification here. So both of these drivers are going to be well aware of it, set some fantastically blistering times in the top 3 of everyone that took part, which is why we're seeing them here in these finals overall. But the third place match is where they are. The finals eluded them, but we'll see who can come out on top at the moment. Furfur, with that lead in the races, is currently trailing by some distance, honestly, to Jaeger at the moment. This is the interesting bit. They have to clip that wall on the right-hand side, and it can be tricky because you have to clip it just right. If you over-clip it, it can send you spiraling. Both of them hit it first time, the first lap round, and of course we're starting lap 2.
Yeah, for sure. Jagermeister not getting the best of it, to be fair. Furfur, my friends, did a better job there. And it's just from the early stretches of this race, Jagermeister just got down low really early. As soon as the race started, he went down low. Whereas Furfur, my friends, took his time about it and unfortunately has lost a load of time because of it. So he's been playing catch-up ever since here. And again, it's one of those circuits that's nice and open, a pretty orthodox track, if you like, in terms of a race circuit. But obviously we don't have ramps and boosts and stuff around a normal race circuit, so what do I know? But yeah, it's all about catch-up now for Furfur, my friends, and you're right, Demon, I think he's going to have to utilise that little grind on the wall, the little I don't know, clip of the wall at the end here and just try and do it a little bit better once again, just like he did on the previous lap.
Absolutely. At the moment, though, Jaeger's looking great, not making too many mistakes, carrying just as much boost. Furfur doing a great job of maintaining the gap here, Jaeger, as he continues. There's the clip, there's the wall. They both hit it perfectly. A little spin, actually, from Jaeger to try and get that little extra boost. Maybe feeling the pressure from behind there from Furfur. Not too sure he needed to do that. Almost unforced error, if you will, but it's enough to carry him over the line, just making sure he had that extra little boost to get there. And once again, we tie up the Series 1 apiece. Android has been delivering today.
Oh, yes, we are going into a decider, which is absolutely what we love. And while it's not the first time you said it, that Jaeger is looking good right now. And he did look good there.
Yeah, so we're moving on to San Francisco, the city by the bay. That will be the deciding factor for Furfur versus Jaeger. Who is going to come out on top? It's an early spin from Jaeger there to get things going, get that extra boost, and it gives him the lead.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there. And again, this is the last opportunity here to showcase what skills you have until the next event. Again, another spin there from Jaeger, gaining a little bit more boost there. As you can see, Furfur, my friend's doing exactly the same here, but this is brilliant stuff from Jagermeister. He's in the lead, but he's taken so many chances here, and he is wanting this win a little bit more than Furfur, my friends, as it stands.
Absolutely. He's hot on the heels. Oh, such a risky spin there from Jaeger. Could have sent him spiraling off the track. Now you can see them neck and neck. Is he going to land down on top of him? No. Just around and side there. It's going to be Jaeger up above.
Big smash.
And Furfur,
my friend, hits the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, no. Disaster in the final race. That's going to absolutely haunt him.
Yeah, that's soul destroying. You know, ultimately you want to give the best account of yourself. You want to be, you want to be in the hunt, especially, going into the second lap at the very least in the final here. So he's been absolutely exceptional all day. And, for me right now, there's been no losers today. They've been all really at top level. But unfortunately, that one mistake here is going to be enough. Such is the level of these drivers right now. Lee, you make one mistake and, it's very unlikely that a driver that's got a healthy lead is going to be taking enough chances to really replicate the same mistake you've made.
The problem is that Jaeger won't really know. He's just going to carry on doing his race and feeling that pressure. And this is obviously, as you say, where they can make some errors. But it does look like Jaeger's going to carry on through. A little reckless there as he bounces off the side. Does manage to hit the ramp, though, to save the day. And once again, up and over. And this is where Furfur made that big mistake there. Wasn't able to connect to the ramp just at the right moment. And, straight into the bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just one of those things, pushing, it's so fast-paced, this game, that, you make a mistake like that, you just can't help it. You're in the moment, you've got all that momentum built up, and you're just trying to flow with the track and the circuit. You know what corner's coming up, a couple of corners ahead, and it's all about, movements in your thumbs and your fingers, and it's all about your repetition of what you've been doing previously. And ultimately, when a mistake like that happens, it just kills everything, momentum being a vital part of everyone's performance.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. So Jagermeister coming out on top in the third place. Let's have a look at the replays of how it all began, because just as we've seen throughout on the Android, the loser in the first race makes the comeback.
Yeah, absolutely. It just seems to be a bit of a trend here. Whether that will go into the final as well, it remains to be seen. But these two did look super close as well. And again, I said it earlier on, any one of these drivers would be a worthy champion today, that's for sure. Like, they are all at that level. But ultimately, it came down to that one mistake in San Francisco into the Golden Gate Bridge, and that is going to have cost Furfur, my friends, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can see they were pretty much riding it all, but Furfur in the end in San Francisco, it's a tricky city, no doubt about it. Very much a lot of ups and downs, and there was the big down for Furfur as he connects with the bridge. And unfortunately for him, he'll be going out in 4th place, but it's Jagermeister, our 3rd place winner in the end. Fantastic driving from him, and very close. Let's have a look at the brackets. Of course, we do have the grand final still coming up. That will be Suktee versus Onio in a few moments' time. We've got another 3rd place to decide on iOS as well, but it will be Jagermeister that comes out on top in this race. Fantastic stuff from him. So let's have a hear what the man himself has to say. Here's Jagermeister. So I'm joined by Jagermeister, the runner-up, 3rd place for you overall in this tournament, which obviously means you get $200. But let's go back to the start. Let's go back to the qualifications, because we've had a month long of racing to try and be here in the first place. How do you feel the qualifications went for you overall?
Well, qualifications round were pretty much a massive struggle for me, since I'm not much of a consistent player, so it has to take me a lot of practice to get through. And also the fact that I have a full-time job and I didn't really have much of a free time, so yeah, I'm just pretty happy that I somehow made it to the final rounds.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm to squeeze in some practice during breaks at work. It's a nightmare, no doubt about it. So let's talk about the semi-finals. Obviously, you came up against the Suktee overall, and you know, it was a tough semi-final, no doubt about it. RPM Suktee is a very quick driver. How do you feel it went for you, or more to the point, where did it go wrong?
Okay, so first race, it went pretty well for me, apart from the last parts. I messed up quite badly. I don't know how I still managed to keep up on the 1st place. Second race, meanwhile, well, I messed up badly. I left the map and didn't manage to catch up Suktee. Well, he was way too quick to catch up. And yeah, and last race also I messed up. And yeah, so Suktee very his hard work also paid off, and I'm very happy that he actually made it through the final round.
Yeah,
and I wasn't really upset, to be honest, because it was a totally new experience for me. I was actually clueless, like what should I expect and everything. But after all that, I had a lot of fun with really happy that I somehow made it to the final round. So yeah.
So let's go and talk about your 3rd place playoff. Obviously, you know, you've just beat Furfur, my friend, who you've been competing with basically throughout the month, obviously, in terms of times. You know, you've been one step in each other the whole way through. How did that race go? Obviously, coming out on top, it's got to feel good.
Well, first race didn't went pretty well. Well, it did go well. I just kept being behind him, and I couldn't really find a way how to overtake him. And that's how he managed to win. The second race, although I have no clue how I honestly kept up being first. Also, I had a lot of stupid moments where I almost knocked him down because of my mistake of doing nitro brake, because I keep messing up sometimes. And third race also had the same problem, apart from the fact that he sadly left the map. So I had nothing else to do but to play casually about it. So yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm glad you came out on top in the end. So $200 going your way. Congratulations. I hope you find some more time to practice and keep on racing throughout Asphalt 9. Jagermeister, all the best, mate.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Luke, you know when you were talking about getting that time trial in when you're walking your dog, it seems like in between his job, he's sneaking off and getting the phone out. A quick break. Here we go. Get a time trial in.
Well, we want to hope his boss isn't watching. That's for sure. There's a lot of people watching right now. Well, hopefully, one of his employers are not on board up. But yeah, impressive story. To be at the top of any esport, pyramid, you've got to put the time in. And for him to have a full-time job, as he's up against quite a lot of people that are a little bit younger than him, I would say a bit more time on their hands. Very impressive.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the bracket, though. Of course, we're moving on to the iOS now. Android now completed, certainly for the third place. Let's decide who's going to be the third place winner here in an RPM battle. Not one we expected. FRA versus Alex in this third place playoff.
No, we definitely didn't expect to see these. Well, we expected to see these two, but maybe not in this particular final. But ultimately, these two have been the most aggressive players I've seen so far today. So I'm expecting this to be an absolute show of fireworks.
Well, let's get that race on your screens. Of course, third place, we'll be starting off just like we did before on Shanghai, this time on the iOS. And here we go. Alex in the yellow, in the red, sorry, and FRA in the yellow. Two teammates neck and neck, of course, would have been practicing probably before this tournament began against one another and seeing who could come out on top, but it's FRA that started strong.
Yeah, FRA looking really good. He looked really good in the semi-finals, to be fair. If anyone was a disappointment, to be fair, for me, would be Alex. I don't think he showed what he's capable of. As you said, he's one of the old school, one of the big dogs of the Asphalt esports scene, and now it's his chance to prove that once again. But he's in behind and his teammate here, FRA. Again, this is a very open circuit. We've seen this once before today, and there's again not many places that you're expecting these drivers to put errors in. It becomes more of a more orthodox race, as I keep mentioning.
Yeah, and a lot of pressure on these guys because obviously both representing the same team. It's a team that carries its own tournaments, etc. throughout on Asphalt as well. A team that I know, obviously, talking to Jagermeister off air there, was that he was very much looking forward to also taking part in. So, it's a big organisation, the biggest, certainly in Asphalt, alongside Pro. And, these guys, they absolutely need to deliver. And Alex, once again, going for that risky spin off the ramp. He really is throwing all risk to the wind and just trying anything he can to get back in the lead.
He has to. At this stage, you're behind. There's not many opportunities for people to make mistakes around a circuit like this. So you've got to take some chances, ultimately, if you don't get the greatest of starts here. FRA, though, is just unbelievable. Just has looked on a different level. Again, very unlucky in terms of the semi-finals. Looked very fast in the semi-finals. But ultimately, it didn't work out for him. But now it's his chance again. It's a chance of redemption. Like I say, you're on the big stage. We're talking about RPM being a huge organisation, and maybe it's a disappointment for them not to get to the final. But to have two drivers still at this stage of the competition, that's unbelievable.
Absolutely. And at the moment, it's looking like FRA is going to come out on top, certainly in race number one, unless something happens in the final few corners here, as Alex continues to chase him down. But doesn't seem like FRA is going to make too many mistakes, as you mentioned. Oh dear. Alex trying to ride as close as he could, hits the barrier, and it will be FRA that takes race number one on Shanghai. And really, from the beginning, didn't really look like he faltered whatsoever throughout that race.
No, got the lead early in the race, done the hard work in the first lap, and then just reaped the rewards in the second lap there. So, yeah, pretty comprehensive in the end. But ultimately, he's up against one of the very best ever in the esports scene in Alex. So he doesn't want to rest on his laurels, and he needs to keep performing.
So moving on, Himalayas once again into the mountain poles, which is obviously a pretty wide start. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we saw earlier on that going down low early is indeed the best option. Starting on the left-hand side of the screen is also starting on the left-hand side of the track is the best option as well. But I tell you what, it doesn't matter, because FRA from the right-hand side has managed to get up into the lead of this race. He needed to get this early lead here and then try and do exactly what FRA needs to do exactly what he did in the previous race and just take the lead.
So on that ramp, it's all about taking, you almost go off the right-hand edge of it. You don't go over the ramp in full, because you carry too much distance in the air, therefore you lose speed, etc. when you get down the ground, which is why Alex was desperately trying to muscle his way over on FRA. Now he's trying to muscle his way. Oh no, and that makes him miss out on the ramp. That's going to put FRA with extra boost, and that puts him in the lead in FRA. Every time Alex has just got to this moment where he needs to get on one of those boosters or the ramps, he's missed out on it because FRA is there first.
Yeah, well, he's too focused on the actual car instead of just trying to get onto the ramp himself there. It might have been worth just letting off the gas ever so slightly just to get onto the ramp and maybe right up behind him and try and force a mistake. As we go on to lap number 2, FRA is just looking at a different level here. Both dropping down early here, and you can see how vital it is. And actually, to be fair, Alex has got a really nice run through the first part of this second lap, although there's a bit of a mistake there as he goes through the air. But FRA, again, just looking really, really strong.
Yeah, looking fantastic. And just out muscling in the end. You can see his car's weathered a bit of damage from it, but he's still looking pretty good overall. And these Porsche Caymans are delivering once again with FR8 holding full boost straight into the ramp. Hits it perfectly. Alex is following through, but the damage may well have been done on lap 1.
Yeah, these GT4s, they're built for a little bit of rubbing his racing, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. That's for sure. Yeah, I may not have seen these going up in the air and over jumps and stuff before, but yeah, they are built pretty strongly here. Just like RPM FR8 is as well, as again, this lead just doesn't look like he's going to give it up for sure as we come then over the ice section here. And it's just looked incredible, although Alex is relatively close here, grabbing a load of boost, although FRA does have a little bit more to work with as we come up then towards the finish line, and it's not quite going to be enough. And well, it's a 2-zip win for FRA.
Quick and easy, RPM take win, yay! Not what we can say, because it's FRA that will take a 2-0 over Alex. Let's have a quick reminder of the iOS series. Of course, Nilo and Adidas will be coming up in the grand finals shortly. That will be a best of 5, but it's RPM FRA that takes a 2-0 win, which seems to be the way of things on the iOS. Some clean and fast racing going on over there overall.
Yeah, absolutely. It would appear that the drivers are not paid by race, that's for sure, because they're getting these out the way as quickly as they possibly can. But it's all about the starts here. FRA just absolutely smashing it off the starts in both races. He got into the lead, and then it's just all about, keeping your nerve, ultimately. Himalayas is absolutely key, that you stop the car on your right-hand side from going down the drop at the start of the lap. And he did that perfectly. And then Alex was more worried about FRA than anything else in terms of, not keeping his momentum, not really worried about him going fast. He was trying to stop FRA from going fast, and ultimately that's what cost him in race number 2.
So that is the third place deciders out of the way. $200 going over to the winners, so congratulations to them. Now let's get the grand finals on your screens. Let's move back over to the Android and see who will come out on top in yet another RPM battle. This time, Suktee versus Onio over on the Android. It's going to be best of 5 overall, so we're expecting a pretty long but drawn out battle.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen, all the semi-finals go all the way in terms of deciders, and I'm expecting no less from the final. This should be very, very exciting indeed.
So we're going to start things off over on Nevada. It will be the long run to begin with. Then we'll be over to Caribbean Island, Rome, Scotland, and San Francisco if we need it. But the race is underway.
Yeah, Nevada, another wide open circuit. A little bit like Osaka, but without the buildings, of course, left and right. I guess it's got the cliff sides there as well. And we've got like the gold mine shafts around as well. But it is Suktee then that takes the early lead here ahead of Onio. Both have tasted defeat today as well. So whether that's going to help them or hinder them, I'm not too sure. But again, they've both got the same record, 2-1 to get to this final. Suktee there making a bit of an error there, and Onio cannot take advantage, and actually looked like there might have been a little bit of contact to the rear then of Suktee, which has stopped the momentum of Onio, and Suktee then still holds on to the lead.
Onio, neck and neck, side by side, wipes out Suktee, and Onio goes through. A little overtake, working wonders for Onio there. Through the tunnels, manages to connect him, and that has put Suktee very much way back in this race.
Yeah, if anyone needs me to do a commentator's curse on them, just let me tell you that you're in the lead and then do a handover to Lee. Because apparently that is how you get overtaken in this race. It is Onio then that did get that takeout, and he has now got that commanding lead. And we've seen Lee that once you get into a lead like this, it's very, very, very difficult for P2 to get back up to the lead.
Yeah, it would require Onio to basically hit a bridge or something like that, like he just did with the ramp there, almost connected with it. But yeah, it would require him to really make a massively unforced error. And doesn't look like it's going to be happening. So, you know, we talked about it right at the start. You did, Luke. You mentioned the fact that both these drivers, you know, they came from a race down, so we know they've got the mental capacity to sort of get through this, even if they just go 1-0 down. It is a best of 5, plenty of races to be had in this one. Suktee hitting it correctly this time, actually being able to ride the rails on the bridge there, but maybe just a little too late.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? They both come for a semi-final where they've lost the first race and then gone and won race 2 and race number 3. But you're still preparing to win race number 1, right? You know, you're not going in to go, right, I need to lose race number 1, then that's how we win this whole thing. Like, you're still going to be vying to win race number 1. It's a very strange mentality to get involved with here. But ultimately, it's looking very, 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 very good to Suktee. Sorry, not for Suktee, for Onio at this stage of this race. And what, is he going to be able to hold on? I think he probably will. And now it's all on Suktee to try and get back involved here. Again, these two are the very best of the day, that's for sure. That's why they're in the final. So I'm expecting no less from Suktee in race number 2.
Yeah, Onio, there we go. This is the one bridge that he could have connected with that would have given Suktee a chance, but it didn't happen. And over the line he goes. So Onio takes race number 1 in this best of 5 series on Nevada. And that means we're moving over to the Caribbean island Paradise Resort. I'd like to go to a Caribbean island right now, Luke.
Yeah, I could do with that. As you can tell by my skin tone here, I could do with a little bit of sunlight. But then we're involved in esports, Lee, so we don't really go outside ever. So we'd probably just melt anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
We're living in our rooms, just like everybody else throughout this COVID time. But it's great to see we can get racing on your screens right now as they're side by side, neck and neck in the Caribbean island. It's Onio that will drop down on top of Suktee and get himself the lead.
Yeah, just a little bit of contact there with the bonnet of Suktee, which has given Onio the opportunity just to lead ever so slightly. Again, such a momentum-based circuit here, especially the early stages. Big oof there for Onio. And this is perfect for Suktee then. Suktee is going to take the lead of this race. Yeah, he is. He's going to take the lead of this race, a commanding lead by the looks of it as well. And, well, there's the first real mistake from Onio we've seen.
Yeah, wiping out there, and as we were talking about, it's all about that momentum. And, well, if you go off the beaten track, it can cost you dearly. And that is exactly what happened to Onio there. Just catching himself out and wiping out that Porsche. But at the moment, it does mean that Suktee is going to benefit from this. This time, though, it was an unforced error. It was just the pressure of racing effectively. Oh, and Onio seems to be just losing his way a little bit here. Maybe mentally checked out in this race, knowing that he's got to just throw caution to the wind and try anything he can to catch up.
Yeah, different mindset. It'd be more relaxed, I would imagine, with the best of 5. When you win, in the semi-finals, if you go 1-0 up, ultimately you're going to be jacked. You're going to be pumped. You're like, oh, if I win one more, I've got it done. I'm going to the next round. But it's almost like a security blanket going 1-0 up in a best of 5 because you can afford to lose the second race because you've got then a best of 3 effectively to come out. But also, if you then maybe go and win race number 2, you go 2-0 up. So I think he's just lost a little bit of concentration and just again, just like you said, chilled out a bit too much. And ultimately it's cost him here. And well, it's good for us because we get to see basically a best of 3 for the final if it goes 1-1, but there's still a long way to go.
Absolutely, it's looking like it's going to go that way. I'm not seeing any unforced errors from Suktee as he looks to play out his second lap. Looking pretty good here. Across the line he goes, and simple as you like there. And finally Onio catches up, but yeah, you can't have a crash and get away with it. It's as simple as that. You don't often get 2 crashes in one race, and at the moment it is all square. And as you mentioned, we're back in effectively a best of 3. We're moving on to Rome next. It will be St. Peter's kickoff, and we'll see who's going to come out on top in this one, because Suktee, he went that race down. You know the way it's gone. Can he come back and make it 2-1 now? He's got the lead at the start.
Yeah, well, surely we can't see the same pattern go every single championship bracket race as it's gone in the semi-finals, but you never know. That is just the nature of the beast right now. Oh, there's a bit of contact there with one of the civilian cars from Onio there, which has given Suktee a nice opportunity to go out and lead here. But like you say, he won't know that, but this is perfect stuff then from Suktee.
Yeah, Suktee looking good so far. Onio, though, keeping him in check. Unforced errors can be a big part of it here. It's a much tighter circuit at Rome than it was in the Caribbean, so got to be on their game very much so.
This is going to be easier for Suktee, though, isn't it? If you think about it, look at all the carnage that Suktee's creating here. He's chucking up, bistro tables all over the show. He's picked up a couple of motorbikes as well. And, Onio's going to have that in his eye line.
Oh, no,
there's a mistake.
Onio tried to go for one too many spins. We were talking about that with Alex before on the iOS. This time it's Onio hitting, I think it went for 3 spins there. I think it was 2. I think it looked like 3, just trying to get as much as he can out of it. And we've seen there is a catch-up potential here on Rome if you can go for that shortcut, but it's such a risk. And at the moment, Onio, he may have to go for it on the final lap.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how many spins he went for either. I was dizzy by 3. He tried something, and ultimately you can't knock him for it. At this level, we haven't seen one race where a driver makes a mistake and then they get caught up by them. A driver making a mistake, someone gets into the lead, and then the lead car then makes a mistake themselves. We've only ever really seen one mistake per race. So again, you've got to try something. So at least Onio is, going to come out of this championship again. It's still, if he loses this race, he's not going to lose the final. But ultimately, when he gets there tonight and he's sat there going, I definitely left everything out there on the table.
Absolutely. You don't want to be thinking back on those mistakes. When you close your eyes, it's going to be replayed in your mind exactly how and when it all went wrong. And at the moment, Onio, who started off strong with a 1-0 lead, is looking to face a potential 2-1 deficit in this series. It is a best of 5, so it's not all over yet. But it does look like it's going to be Suktee that will be taking the 3rd race here at Rome as he blasts it clean through the tunnels, up over the bridge and over the finish line. Fantastic stuff. It will be Suktee now taking the lead 2-1 in the series.
I tell you what, if there was another lap there, Onio was on it. That second lap from Onio was really good. And if we're going to talk about momentum, if he could take that into race number 4, potentially we could see a decider. Ooh.
So Scotland up next. A tricky one. It's a track that we used throughout the recaps as well, throughout the weekly qualifiers. So let's get it on your screens.
Classic weather here at Scotland. A little bit of wetting from the skies. It wouldn't be Scotland without it, that's for sure. Maybe we'll see a haggis run across the screen, or maybe even a Loch Ness Monster. But as it stands then, it is going to be Suktee that takes the lead, and he needs this. If he gets this, it's a 3-1 championship win. And wow, he's got a lovely bit of boost there in the air as they come through the pylons there. For the life of me, I've just forgotten what they're called. Wind turbines, that's the one, wind turbines. Couldn't remember what they're called, to come then through the cliffside underneath the tunnels. And again, Suktee, I was talking about Onio bringing that form from race number 3, where the second lap just looked really good. He was closing up into race number 4, but I tell you what, there has been a fire lit underneath Suktee, because Suktee looks so quick.
Yeah, he's absolutely on it right now. Onio is doing the best he can to actually just keep up. Oh no! I think he hit the chase cam, the copter. I think that's what happened.
Chopper.
He's hit the chopper. Oh my word!
Wow.
That's a disaster for Onio. Okay, so it's not there. There it goes. It's just gone past there. It's not there when you do a time trial. You can't contact with it, but you can in multiplayer. And Onio's just collected it there, and that's cost him, I think.
Yeah, this could potentially cost him the championship here. And, well, this is something that the drivers on the iOS side of things, if they're watching right now, I'm sure they are watching right now, they need to take into account for their races. They need to figure that out.
Oh,
and,
no, he hit the
structure with no name.
Wind turbine has gone as well. Oh, jeez, he's wiping everything out now.
Yeah, poor Onio, just not looking great here. To get to this stage, though, no one can ever take that away from him. It's been an incredible performance just to get to the finals. But ultimately, it's just one championship set of races too far. Suktee has looked really good. Let's not take anything away from Suktee. There's been mistakes that's happened from Onio, and not ideal to hit a chase cam helicopter. But regardless, Suktee was in the lead, and he is looking very, very good. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Suktee comes across the line, and he's going to make it 3-1.
It will be Suktee that will take the grand finals here on Android. $400 going his way. Fantastic racing overall, to make that comeback, obviously losing out on the first track in Nevada. Let's have a quick look at the replays to see how it all played out throughout the grand finals here. 4 races was all it needed for Suktee.
Yeah, it was, a 3-1 win, but it didn't start well. Obviously we've just seen there a takeout, and it looked like Onio was going to be the one to beat for sure. And ultimately that one to beat was beaten. Suktee looked great then from race 2, race 3, and indeed race 4 with the assist from a helicopter, an assist from a wind turbine, once I figured out what it was called. But yeah, Suktee just looked really, really strong and a very worthy winner.
I couldn't quite catch what Onio caught there. I think he just went out of track limits or what. I'm not too sure. Either way, it's just that's really been the story for Onio, unfortunately. You know, 3 crashes have cost him. It's as simple as that. You know, just the problem is when you're in these grand finals, you really do need to be looking to try and drive as perfect a race as you can possibly do. And you know, 1 error you can maybe get away with. 2, 3 errors, that's just going to cost you dearly. So fantastic stuff. That was Rome, of course, and this is where the disaster happened in Scotland. Let's see if we can catch it. I don't know whether they managed to catch it on the replay of him catching it. Couldn't quite see it there, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. You see we saw the copter coming down as well. So the safety chopper in the end, not so safe, unfortunately, for Onio, and Suktee takes himself the victory overall, Luke.
Well, you can't get caught on the replay cam if you take out the replay cam, ultimately. But yeah, it's, again, Onio didn't win this because there was a couple of mistakes. His actual outright pace is there. We're going to see him back again for sure.
Absolutely. Fantastic stuff from Suktee. And of course, I managed to catch a word with the man himself. So let's see what Suktee had to say. Well, here is the champion. It is RPM Suktee. Congratulations to begin with. Let's go back to the start. Let's talk about how it all began. Let's go to the qualifications. Obviously, you've had 4 hard races to be here to begin with. How was it to work your way through so many races?
Well, first of all, the qualifications, it was very hard to perform such a good time in order to qualify for the finals. But I managed to get through of try-harding and keep trying and just improve yourself and game mechanics. But at the end, I made it, and I'm super happy about it.
So let's go to the semi-finals. You were up against Jagermeister, someone that you've been pretty much competing with in the qualification throughout. How was that race to begin with?
Well, Jagermeister is of course a very good player and very hard to perform such against good in player, and it was pretty close, and luckily I managed to get through and kick him out.
And then, of course, into the final you go up against, well, one of your teammates, RPM Onio, in a best of 5. No doubt a tough series. What do you think is it that helped you get through?
Well, I just got nervous because I know how good he is, and I just had that self-confidence and just the way of my risky driving, and that did help me get through it.
Fantastic stuff. Well, congratulations, Suktee. You are the champion for Android. Congrats once again. We'll see you next time. Great to hear from Suktee, a young champion, no doubt about it, going to school still at the moment, so, you know, absolutely delivering, and we obviously managed to get to speak to him as well on and off camera, and he was talking about, you know, how unlucky Onio was, really, the fact that he obviously won it, so humble, no doubt about it.
Yeah, there's being gracious in defeat, but there's also such a thing as being gracious in victory, and Suktee was, but ultimately a very, very worthy champion.
So let's have a look at the bracket. We're going to move on now. That's Android concluded. So we're on to the iOS. It will be Nilo up against Adidas in this best of 5 grand final. And FRA already taking the win in the 3rd place battle against Alex. So Nilo has been a champion before. Can he do it again here up against Adidas in this best of 5 epic? Both taking 2-0 in their semi-finals.
Yeah, no RPM in the final, which is the big shock of the day, really, for iOS. But it doesn't matter. It's a chance then for Adidas and Nilo to indeed show their skill, showcase their skill set to the abundance of people watching. Hopefully they all enjoy this at home. This is going to be an absolute classic.
Yeah, let's see what Nilo can bring to the table. Obviously, he had a tough run before in December, but we're going to be starting things off once again, as we did on the Android in Nevada. Let's hit the desert.
Here we go then. This is again a nice open start for these two drivers, so any nerves here again will be quashed very, very quickly. It's a nice race to have as your first race, especially if you are genuinely nervous, because you know, ultimately you know where you're going. It's quite open, you can see what corners are coming up next and whatnot, so less chance of mistakes. But as it stands then, it is Adidas that takes the lead. Nilo in second spot there, and oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, we've seen it again. There's another mistake then, and well, that is handing Adidas a huge lead here.
Big mistake. You were talking about how it's a nice track to settle the nerves. That absolutely will not settle them for Nilo. That's just going to set him in overdrive rage, aggressive. Anything's just mentally going to be going bonkers about making such a unforced error like that. And Adidas has himself a great lead right now. So Nilo, well, we've seen it before. Chances of catching up probably slim to none here, unless Adidas makes a big error. So if anything, if I was Nilo, while he's obviously going through this, I would just, you know, just got to calm your mind, get yourself back down and say, you know what? There's 5 races in this series. There's a big chance to come back. Let's just calm it down.
Yeah, chance to regain. You know, it's quite strange because obviously he's represented RPM before, so he would have known quite a lot about Alex in the semi-finals. Ultimately, one of the, as you said, the veterans of the scene, probably a very young man still, but one of the veterans of the scene. And you know, he would have been sky high. Nilo would have been sky high on confidence, and he would have been loving life, but then to have such an early setback in the final, where it really matters in terms of the money, yeah, you're back to square number 1 here. And well, for Adidas, it's literally the opposite. He is going to be on cloud 9 right now. And again, the worst thing for Nilo right now is this isn't one of the shortest races. This is such a long race where you know you're so far behind, and it's just kind of like a big slog to get to the end. So the more and more you go through this lap, the more demoralized you're going to be.
I don't know whether Adidas going for the spin coming out the tunnel there. A little unforced risk, but I guess he's not realizing just how far behind Nilo is at the moment. So just trying to go about his business. Yeah, you don't want to slow down too much, right? Just sort of check out, because then you make errors that you don't expect to make.
Yeah, I like that from the developers. That's obviously a forced thing that they've put in, so you don't know where your competitor is in terms of if they've made a mistake behind you, which means we're going to see 2 drivers push from start to finish. Obviously, if you're in second, you know exactly where P1 is, but yeah, you know, we've seen here that it is going to be a win there for Adidas. But yeah, the fact that they have to push from start to finish makes it really, really interesting, and the chances of a mistake happening, you know, obviously increases.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Adidas takes himself the first race after a unforced error. Well, can you call it unforced? I mean, Nilo was in the lead when he made the error, so maybe it was a forced error. But either way, he hit the bridge, let's face it. And you can't get away with generally when you hit a bridge like that. So, Caribbean Island up next. We just saw Arnio making a big mistake on the beach. Let's see if anybody else can survive that run. It's an open track. It's an open track, Luke. I don't understand how he made that error.
Yeah, well, this is what pressure does to you. You know, ultimately, there's a reason why we're casting, Lee, and not racing competition.
Yes,
so yeah, to understand the pressures of this is difficult for us. There's a little bit of a mistake there from Adidas, and well, you can see that Nilo nearly had the chance to make the overtake, and he's got to just try and get ahead here as soon as possible. He's got to again try and get rid of the demons from the previous race. Not you, demon, the actual demons of the mistake he made. As soon as possible, just to get your mind clear. The perfect scenario would be nice, simple, make it 1-1, off to the best of 3 then for the rest of this final. But right now, Adidas is not letting that happen.
No, but Nilo is keeping him very much in check to see whether he can get through. Looking good in terms of boost for both drivers. Nilo hitting a little bit better there. Adidas, so just keeping it stored up, maintaining the gap and keeping that boost for if he requires it. If Nilo were to come through, Nilo having to throw everything at the kitchen sink at Adidas to try and catch up in this series. He does not want to go 2-0 down, that's for sure, as Nilo continues to chase down Adidas, but he's holding very well at the moment. Once again, plays it a little cautious on the beach, I would say there, if anything, as Nilo continues to chase. Can he cap through? Rides it clean over the jump and straight through, and at the moment Nilo, he is staring at a potential 2-0 deficit, and that would really put the pressure on him, which is why he's throwing everything he's got at this.
Oh, this would be the worst type of loss possible. He is on fire right now, but ultimately Adidas just got that better start. There's nothing worse than going 2-0 down when you just think there's nothing more I could have done in the second race. Like, can I beat this guy? You then start to doubt your own ability, and yeah, Adidas is just not making a mistake. Oh, well, as I say that, he does make a mistake, and wow, the door's being opened wide here for Nilo, and there you go, 1-1, simple as that.
Luke, you are delivering with the caster curses today. Absolutely. Triple crown given so far, and just as you mention it, yeah, just missed the jump, bang, straight into the side wall. And oh my word, Nilo gifted the race there by what was, I mean, it was a precious situation, no doubt about it. And Adidas, they were both obviously in the, I think it was the third jump. It's like 1, 2, and then I think it's the third that he missed out on and just clattered into that wall. Oh my word, Adidas had that one in the bag. But no, we are all square one apiece. We were talking about the pressure going onto Nilo, but now the pressure's most likely onto Adidas after that mistake. We're on to Rome.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Adidas made a mistake. Anyone could do that, especially at this level. He knows he's got the pace now. 2 races in a row, he's just not been in the position to give up the lead unless there was that big error at the end there. What an ending to race number 2. Nilo back on level terms here. And, well, I'm expecting, again, to see a very, very close race. Again, final number 1 wasn't the closest, but this has been absolutely exceptional.
Absolutely. Considering both OIOS's semi-finals was 2-0s, even the third place playoff was a 2-0. We were having an absolute barnstormer here in the grand finals, and well, this is exactly where we wanted it to deliver. Adidas just about keeping ahead of Nilo as he has done in all 3 races so far, but Nilo picked him at the post on the last track in the Caribbean. But here in Rome, it is Nilo hot on the heels once again of Adidas, but both are hitting the jumps, hitting the boosts, hitting everything perfectly.
Yeah, you can see here Adidas is not, putting in the spins as much as Nilo. He's not really taking as many chances as Nilo, but ultimately the gap has stayed the same for the entirety of lap number 1 here. So his lines have been absolutely spot on. So yeah, it all comes down now to whether he can hold his nerve. Again, he knows he's got the pace. So regardless of that mistake there, he would have been able to throw that away real super quick, I would imagine. He knows he's got the pace, and that's what wins your races. Mistakes happen. Anybody can make a mistake. But if you know you've got more pace than your opponent, you are golden in terms of psychological advantage. And, well, he's proven that point right now, as Adidas does still hold on to the lead. Nilo not far behind, though. Nilo, I don't know what we're going to call him at this stage, but it's the racing action has just been incredible. And if anything, he is starting to close up here. And maybe we can have a frantic firework finish.
Let's see, has he got enough boost to try and build it up? That's the question. Goes close there, but not quite close enough. We're running out of time for Nilo to get himself back involved in this one. 1-1 at the moment. Who's going to take himself the lead as they squeeze on through? It's still Adidas holding on. He's going to look to stretch that to a 2-1 lead. He can't make a mistake towards the end there. That's a little unclumsy there as he managed to get a bit bouncy. Nilo continuing to get the chase on, but Adidas has still got that boost back up to try and keep himself clear. And at the moment, he's got himself a little gap.
Yeah, he is just holding it so tight, so firm. Great stuff there from Adidas. It's going to be a second victory out of 3 races there. But again, these 2 are so evenly matched, and the start is absolutely vital here. And 2 races now out of the 3, Adidas has got that better start and just held on to that lead.
Fantastic stuff. In this best of 5, it is now Adidas with a 2-1 lead. We're moving into Scotland now. In Bonnie, Scotland, this is where it all tied up in the Android. Let's see whether Adidas can do it once again as he just edges the lead at the start.
And as you can see, it is still raining here at Scotland as well. And that is just what happens every day. Scotland's the only country in the world where you can have all 4 seasons in the space of a couple of hours. Great start then from Adidas, though. He is off down the glen here in a sensational fashion, and well, he is potentially looking to make it 3-1 here and pick up the championship. And Nilo again is so quick, not making the mistakes like he had done in race number 1. It's just Adidas in superior form.
Well, one thing we learned is you gotta watch for the chopper. That's what we're hoping Nilo doesn't connect with like Onio did. You can see it on your screens there. Oy, 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 oy. Just passing on by, and you got to make sure you don't connect with it, because Ordinarily in a single player, you don't need to worry about it. You're not going to connect with it. But in multiplayer, you absolutely can. We saw Onio doing just that. But Nilo is staying very much on the back end of Adidas here as we start lap 2.
Yeah, it just goes to show how close these two are in terms of their pace, in terms of their talent. But it comes down to how well you start the race. And again, Adidas has just been able to get these starts a little bit better than Nilo, and Nilo always playing catch up here. But again, a half a lap to go here. Is he potentially going to be able to catch up, or is it going to be a 3-1 win for Adidas? We come then down in towards the mine shafts here. Again, very open circuit, so it's all about once you get into the lead, just make sure you maximize your apexes, make sure you're hitting every single ramp, make sure you've got that boost in tow. It is still close though as they come through this sweeping left-hander. And I tell you what, Adidas is just looking on a different level right now. No mistakes being made. Again, I've said that before and there was a mistake, but ultimately right now it is looking so good for him.
You've had your 3, so I think you're safe now, right? Your three curses. Looks like Adidas is looking safe. Over the line he goes, and he will be the iOS champion for Asphalt 9. Wow, fantastic stuff. Did not expect that, I gotta be honest. I thought Nilo would be taking this one in the series, obviously coming through into the finals once again, but it is Adidas that comes out on top in the grand finals on iOS. Congratulations to him. Overall, fantastic racing from him. You know, one error, it should have been a 3-0. Let's face it, the end of Caribbean Island, otherwise it would have been an absolute blitz. 2-0 in the semis, could have been a 3-0 in the finals.
Yeah, I think if he makes that mistake chasing Nilo in race number 3, race number 2, then there's every reason to suggest that he might lose composure. But the fact that he was leading, he knew he had the pace. It was always going to be good. Positive vibes in the camp of Adidas, and well, he delivered in race number 4. But we just saw that mistake then over the bridge with Nilo, which that's not going to have done his confidence any good at all. And then it's not like he's been absolutely blitzed anywhere, has he?
Here we go.
He's right behind every single race.
Oh no. It's on the next lap.
He's not been blitzed at all, has he? Like, these two are both such similar levels.
Oh,
incredible stuff.
Just collected it on the ramp. Just didn't quite get the spin back in. He knew straight away as soon as he'd done it. It's like, that's the race gone. But that could have been a 3-0 because of that. That was really the only thing that got Nilo back in this. But other than that, it's like no mistakes. You know, we were talking about what we saw in the Android finals, and there were mistakes. You know, mistakes made by both drivers, but really didn't make any mistakes this time around.
Yeah, he's absolutely not going to be worried whether it's 3-1 or 3-0. You know, he's got all of that money now, what he can spend on sweets and ice cream. So yeah, good times.
Well, it's a lot of sweets and ice cream. $400 going his way. So congrats to Adidas taking down Nilo 3-1 in the grand finals. Let's have a quick look at the rest of the day and how it's all worked out. Of course, for Android was where we began. It was the 4 drivers of Suktee, Furfur, Onio and Jagermeister. Suktee coming out on top in that, taking down Onio 3-1 in the finals as well. And the question is, now that you've seen them both, you threw the question out there: who's the fastest, iOS or Android?
I'm going to be honest with you. I can see the chat, and I am not fighting any of them. So they both are equally as good, and there is not one that's superior to the other. I'm not fighting these people. No.
Not setting you out against them. Fantastic racing, honestly, overall. Congratulations to the winners, both Suktee, obviously, and Adidas, the champions and the third place winners, and all the drivers overall. They all get themselves some money. Everybody got money, 400, 300, 200 and 100 to every place that they had. Fantastic competitors all throughout the ESL Mobile Open here at Asphalt 9 Legends. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to Luke, my co-host, and of course the production staff back behind the scenes that have made it all happen. We'll see you next time.